congratulations to all the winners, and a special shout out for all the competitors as well, because you really inspired us. And can I say, can we have a digital shout out for Peter Hopwood and DJ Amadi as well? Because they, well, we loved them, didn't we? Okay, so this awesome event, DPW 2021, is slowly coming to an end. Yes, dear viewers, we really need to wrap up. Of course, I'm not gonna do that by myself, so on the couch is Matthias Gutzmann, founder of DPW, and Patrick Foelck from Roche. So, gentlemen, DPW 2021, in just one sentence. I start with you, Patrick.
Amazing. I didn't believe it can be even better, but Matthias, congratulations and the entire team here. It was amazing.
How about you, Matthias?
No, I mean, fantastic, fantastic. And look, what I've learned over the last days was that organizations today face so many challenges. I mean, think of lack of innovation, think of uncertainty, COVID, environmental issues.
Yeah.
And procurement can be that solution to those problems, right? And so this is a unique opportunity for CPOs and the teams to highlight this value beyond just managing the vendor community. And that was really refreshing. And digital is obviously this key enabler to that success. And there's so much technology out there, so much innovation happening, which is overwhelming. And yeah, so I think that will be a challenge, I guess, for the CPOs to manage, right? That overwhelming technology. So I mean, that was refreshing to see. But then really the key question is how to move forward, right? How to bring that, how to choose the right technologies, how to bring them to life, and how to make digital procurement real.
Well, yeah. Can you answer that question? How?
Probably Patrick is probably the best person to answer that. I mean, Patrick, maybe that's why it's great to have you here. And who can better give us the final thoughts around how to make digital real than Patrick? Maybe give us some perspective on that.
No, thank you, Matthias, and thank you for the opportunity to share some of my thoughts. So I think you're touching on a very important aspect here. Procurement is at a very, very important point in time of their journey, right? So I think there's unique opportunity for us to really grow, support the business, and take it much further, move out of the sort of transactional, operational, even sourcing sphere we've been living in, right? And get to solving problems for the business, right? Adding value, right, beyond our traditional savings sing-song that we've been singing. And I also totally agree that digital is a critical enabler for making that step, right? Automating, self-service, content, all that stuff comes with digital solutions. But, and I think there's a but, right? We have 3 questions to answer, I think, for us, and we're not there yet. It's what is it that we really want and need? Even what's the problem statement, right? With the digital revolution accelerating further and further, there's so much more out there, right? Every day adding more startups and whatsoever. But what is it that we want and need linked to my company's problem? I think that's question 1 we need to, as a community, need to start answering. I think question number 2 for me is, who do we need? Once I've decided I want this and this and that, right? Or this and this is my problem, who should I work with? Thousands of companies who claim to solve my problem, right?
Yeah.
Who will? And then the third question for me, which I think is even more critical, is how do I do it, right? I've been maybe living in my technology world so far, doing sourcing, transactional, operational work, and now I want to find the golden nugget, right? And digital promised me to do all that stuff for me. Okay, I've selected maybe a partner, but how do I do it? And back to some of the discussions we've had today on change management, on organization, on talent, right? On actually how do I implement this? These are questions I think the community has still to solve and address.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel we're entering a next era for procurement then? Is this a total new phase?
I think we do, right? For a couple of reasons. Number 1, and I can talk more from what I'm seeing, what my business is requesting from me. I think the expectations have moved on, right? So I think we have developed a certain credibility of doing what we've been doing in the past, saving, security of supply, and all that stuff. I think many of us have proven our value in COVID, right? Securing supply again and finding new suppliers for shortages and whatsoever. But expectations are now, well, you can't come to me and talk to me about savings or categories or whatever, right? So I have a problem, I have a need here, and I don't want to talk to 5 different category managers, as an example. I want solutions, right? So that is a unique opportunity for procurement, I think, to really get into topics like sustainability, risk, but actually solve business problems and ultimately start addressing the growth topic of the business, not only bottom line savings. And the other area is, again, how should we do it? There's so much opportunity for us to do it, but we, at least in Roche, are now given the opportunity to shape that journey for us. And working with DPW and others out there to really find solutions that help us to, I think, address that perspective, but also help our business to find new opportunities, new ways of working. And that's why I think procurement is in a very unique position for itself, right? To get out of procurement for procurement, but procurement for the business, but also taking a much broader value proposition, helping the business to do many other things that they not be able to do on their own.
So, but yeah, that's great. And so where I see a lot of companies struggle with is, they find those solutions, they identify the business need, they find those solutions, they test them out, but they struggle to scale them up across the organization. And ultimately, the goal should be to scale, the solutions across the business and, create adoption there. I mean, do you see that as a challenge as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's a big challenge. And for me, there's a fundamental issue underneath what you're describing. Many people see digital or technology as the solution, right? I just buy a tool and everything will be better, right? But it's only an enabler, and very critical one. But there are many, many things around it that I need to start addressing. I may need to talk about organization, operating model. How do I work in my organization? How do I work with the technology? Claudia earlier talked about change management, super critical. How do I get my people on board? How do I get the business on board? How do I sell this? So there are many, many things that I need to consider in the ecosystem around digital. And I think we can only do it if we have a bit of a vision, a plan around this, and connect all these dots. And maybe allow me 1 minute. And I think that's what we've done at Roche. I'm not saying that we have cracked the code here, but I think we have, talking about digital and technology for a second, we've sort of turned this around, right? So in the past, and also my past in consulting, often we spent a lot of money, or the clients have spent a lot of money on technology, customization, right? Adjusting, building this thing, and then sort of dropped it off, right? Some training and off we go, done, right? Procurement, having designed something for the business, but actually for procurement, right? And told the business, we fine, go use it. In Roche, we've turned this around. We've now, in terms of effort and money, we invested most of it on engaging the users, right? Who will use this thing that we are bringing? It's the business, right? And I can think they may want a green button, and I think the green button is the greatest thing on the planet, but actually they want a blue button, or they don't want any button, right? So good that we asked them. So engaging the customers, the business, but also our people is critical. And then investing a significant amount of time in what's in this technology, what we call the content, right? I can give them the greatest and fastest computer, but if I've forgotten to put any software on it, it's not going to do anything. If I've forgotten to tell them that there's a new computer, right, not going to be used. So for me, it's what's in this thing, right? And how do I engage? How do I communicate? That, I think, has led us to be more successful with what we're doing now than maybe in the past.
What do you think, Matthias? Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I certainly agree. I think it's not, it's not about the technology only. It's also the leadership that has to drive that change. It's about putting someone in charge who has the license to change, what I said earlier, who has real resources. It's about engaging suppliers. It's engaging the business. It's all about driving outcomes for the business. And ultimately, it's not for the sake of being digital, right? It's really, it has to have a purpose. But again, I believe there's this huge opportunity for procurement as a function to drive what we've heard a lot, driving value beyond savings, right? Collaborating with the suppliers, bringing the outside in, driving more innovation, being more connected to the business. And I really believe that procurement is really in that position within the business that they can drive better foresight also around risk and opportunities for the business in the future. And this is massive opportunity and vision for procurement to be really emerge as that value creator within the business, underpinned by new technologies. Yeah.
You know what I've noticed during this whole conference, and now I see it again, it's the passion for the world of procurement. You're so passionate about it, and you're really seeing that it's enabling change and it can drive innovation as long as you put the right ingredients into it, of course. So when you think about the speakers that we saw and about the interaction that the crowd had with the speakers, is there something that struck you most during this conference?
What struck me most about it, you mean?
Yeah, or
I mean, there were so many questions coming in from the audience, right? And I think what I also wanted to achieve overall with the agenda is really to, what really the agenda represented is really what we stand for at DPW, that bring in this diversity of thought. And what I really believe as a function, and if we want to help procurement transform digitally and have a, become that, be more connected to the business, we need to bring, more perspectives and beyond the corporate practitioner and maybe the big technology provider. We need to bring in the startups, we need to bring the academia, but also the business and the suppliers. So that diversity of thought, I think, was so inspiring to the audience that just, all those questions came through, and it was, I think, inspiring to the audience as well, because it was not your typical agenda. I feel, our agenda here. It was more diverse, maybe than other agendas out there. With all respect to the other events.
Yeah, definitely. Do you agree?
Fully agree, and I think I want to build on the last point and connect it to where I started. These questions that people still have, right? They are important to them because they need to invest ultimately, and they need to find solutions, right? There's pressure on procurement. While there's huge opportunity, there's also the need on doing it now, right? So any advice in terms of what is it that I should be doing? What are others talking about, right? Or who can help me shed some light on the many, many trees I see out there? Which is the tree I should pick, right? So transparency and some of the stuff that you do also with ScoutLab, amazing program. I think that's critical. So I think that this conference is unique because it starts to answer some of these questions, right? And addresses the point of the time of that moment that we are in. And therefore, I've enjoyed that conference too.
Plus, digital transformation is difficult, right? It's something new, it's messy. It's like being a little baby, that starts to learn and to walk, and it's that learning journey. And so that, that kind of, I think, reflected as well why so many questions came through.
Great.
Hopefully we can go back to them after the conference and answer most of them.
Yeah, it would be great. Would be great. And when it comes to learning, everything starts with inspiration. And I think you did a great job with DPW to give all the inspiration to our lovely viewers who were very interactive. So thank you again for that. So I feel like we could talk for way longer than we actually can, because we really need to wrap up this conference. So, Matthias, to you, some final remarks on DPW 2021, please.
Now, where am I looking at? Now, just, thanks to the sponsors, thanks to the startups, thanks to the speakers. I'm very humbled by all the attendees and everyone who was really involved in the conference. Again, this all digital format, was really a unique opportunity for us as an organization to be more inclusive and engaging, with a global audience. I think there was this huge opportunity that we just grasped on, and just the team around here really created a unique experience. And what I realized is that there was barely a drop of online attendees who watched the event. So I think we created something very unique here. I think there's also a slide, if you want to get in touch with me, welcome to have a chat about DPW. We are not doing only conferences and events, we are also helping companies find the new and best technologies out there via our ScoutLab program. And we also have a community called DPW 100, where we bring together people, throughout the year and for learning, sharing, and networking. So, it's an exciting journey. Hopefully, people will join us. And again, feel free to contact me under Matthias@dpw.ai. So yeah, excited. And finally, also thanks to you. I mean, what a wonderful host you were, Vivienne. I appreciate your help. I think that's the beginning, hopefully, of more.
Well, I loved it. And over to you, dear viewer. Thank you so much for being part of this DPW journey. As Matthias already mentioned, you were awesome. When it comes to a digital conference, it's all about you. It's all about the participants, because only together we can make this really cool conference. And I think it absolutely was. So for now, thank you. I really hope you enjoyed it. We hope to see you back soon, perhaps by reaching out to Matthias, but absolutely next year, because probably we're going to do an even better conference then, right? Thank you so much, dear viewer. Bye.